Let's talk social anxiety. I can imagine that social anxiety might skyrocket a little bit as we reintegrate into the social structures as COVID-19 gets a little bit more controlled. If social anxiety is something that you really resonate with, you might be someone who's an overgeneralizer. And that's a common thought distortion for a lot of people who have depression, anxiety, and social anxiety. So, what is it? Overgeneralization. Um, it's a way of thinking where you apply one experience to all experiences, especially those in the future. So, for example, as it relates to social anxiety, you might think after you gave a poor speech or said something awkward or weird in a social setting, you might think to yourself, I always screw this up. I always screw up speeches. I always screw up small talk. I can never small talk with people without messing up. So that just kind of takes this one instant and makes it bigger and it makes it like kind of a path that you're walking. So if you experience overgeneralization, you may view it as a pattern, but this can worsen your thoughts, making you feel that everyone dislikes you and that you can't do anything right. It's very self-limiting, and especially it keeps you from meeting your own potential. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, like I'm not good enough. I can never do that. That keeps happening over and over again because that's kind of the message that you're sending to yourself. So how can you reframe overgeneralizations? First, as we always talk about, you have to identify it. Do you notice and recognize that you're thinking things like always, those really sort of big words that are like this is never going to happen for me. This always happens. I'm never going to be good enough. And then take a look at those a little bit closer. Ask yourself, is this true? What would someone else say to me in this situation? How might someone else view these thoughts? You might notice that sometimes this happens and no one else even noticed that you were nervous or that you felt awkward or seemed awkward. So recognize your achievements, times when you did excel, times when you did do well, and times that were just ordinary, that were not really great or really bad. So replacing your thoughts could sound things like, instead of thinking, I'm a terrible small talker and I hate it, I always screw it up, replace that thought with, you know what, I'm more prepared, I can have a couple of things in my back pocket to say, and I could probably make do just fine. So reframing with some positivity or some neutrality can really counter that social anxiety that keeps you avoiding social situations. So if you're an overgeneralizer and you can see how it impacts your social relationships, give these a try.